Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and in this video I'm going to rant even, about what I am starting to notice, or not really just starting to notice, but really notice how too many healthcare providers here in my area, and what they're doing is, I do wonder if it's some kind of a scam. There was a school bus going by. I didn't know if they were going to stop or not, so I turned that off. But yeah, is it a scam? I mean, I don't even want to think that way. But I want to talk about the one that happened today. Okay, we're supposed to have some flooding on the day of my appointment. There's I think 2 or 3 days in a row. And I do not drive in torrential rain. It's how they had reported. If it changes, it's already changed some. But I said, I decided I'm going to call and reschedule that appointment for another day. And I did. Today's Monday, January 27th, 2025. And it's 2:49 p.m. Of course, it's light outside. Anyway, so I called to reschedule it. Had to wait on hold, probably 15-20 minutes. Woman answers, and she's got like a beeping sound, like when your phone's about to die, and the old-fashioned phones. maybe the new ones. Mine never gets that low, but it's beeping, and she's kind of rough, and she asked for my callback number, which they usually don't do. Like, that's weird. And this is an appointment for a certain kind of doctor. I made the first one in the summer. The first time I called to make an appointment was probably in September. Well, it was August, September. I'd say September, about the time I called to make the appointment, just like right after I had been in the hospital for 2 days, 1 night. And made that appointment, and it's the kind of appointments up here. You have to wait 2 or 3 months, sometimes 6 months before the appointment. I made one in December for a different one, and the first appointment is the end of May. Okay, the end of December to the end of May. Do the math. Okay, and it's for something else. And anyway, so this appointment that I made after I got out of the hospital, for this other one, this one I want to talk about, and it was in my network, but they weren't employees of. There's something like that going up here with different systems and everything. I don't know how it all works. So I made the appointment, and then when the appointment came around, it was that one wasn't so bad. It wasn't so far away, and I noticed they had a couple. When I looked online, I had to call my insurance, ask them, and then I noticed that a lot of them had the same last name, the doctors there. That might be important later on if I get to that point. but so, I made a, ask, and my insurance company told me, which ones. I looked them up and to see the reputation, the reviews. I believe the reviews, because I've seen many healthcare providers, and their reviews is, when there's a problem, it's the same problem I have with them. Same or similar. Seriously. So I believe the reviews. And the old people say, oh, don't believe them. Anybody can do that. Well, anybody, like their friends and all, can put up there all these good things too. It worked both ways. Like one person I looked up, they had 3 bad reviews, and all 3 of them said, I can't imagine how they got so many stars and so many people making good reviews, because they're horrible people. And they go on and give details of what happened to them and when, and not when, but how, and and what was said, and it was the front office and all this. Well, this is the problem with the one I'm having now. I don't think he had bad reviews, though. But I have to say, maybe he does, this one I called today, because it's hard to find one without bad reviews. And quite often it's their staff. Well, ultimately, in any business, it comes down to the employer, okay? Or, like in this case, the doctor, the nurse, practitioner. Why do you have bad staff? That's up to you. To fire them. Find people who know what they're doing. You know, and I'll give you an example of what happened today. So anyway, so that day that, you know, for the first one, I hadn't heard anything from them. So I called, you know, the places up here, they either call or text, reminding you of your appointment, something. Somebody's going to contact you. And so, and you can fill out whether you want text or a phone call. I've always put text now because my phone doesn't let me answer it all the time. It's weird. I keep saying I'm going to get a new one. So far I haven't. It's a couple months maybe. Anyway, there's no problem. I get a new one, but anyway. So, I know I digress a lot. So, I called them and, you know, said, hey, I haven't heard about my appointment. And, you know, I haven't gotten a reminder about my appointment. And the woman looked it up and she said, and you know, a lot of these places you call, they're going to have a long wait time. Long wait time. You know, like an hour. Or they'll call you back. And it's an hour. So anyway, so I called, you know, she said, well, we didn't call you. You know, she said that, well, we don't have your referral in yet. And so she's turning it back on me. I said, well, why didn't anybody contact me? I said, I was told I don't need one. In Texas, you don't need a referrals. And I was told this, but I don't know if it was them or somebody else, because in Texas, you don't need one. And I said, well, yeah, you do. He said, no, you really don't. The person was insistent. And I said, no, you do. But anyway, so they didn't call me, text me, anything saying you don't have a referral. So what was I going to do? Go waste my time, go there, and then we're either going to turn me away, or they're going to make me pay. And they said, well, we can't do anything because we don't have your referral. You know, this kind of attitude. Because this has happened to me before, but not like that. But this is very similar with a different place, a totally different place. But to get finished with this one. So I reschedule it. And it's not one of them that they're in the network. They take my insurance, in other words, but they're not employees like the other ones are. Okay, it's not something like that. So I still reschedule it. And this doctor, my new doctor, I like him so far, so good. I see him, have an appointment with him soon. But I think he gave me a referral, but I'd already had one, so I didn't call it. And I should have, because he is actually giving the referral. So when I called them, they said that you need a referral. They said, call your doctor, you know, and have them send in the referral. So I had a different doctor then. It was one I had just only, anyway, I'll get to this. So I called that doctor's office, and I told them what what the place said, that they need a referral. I gave them all the information, the facts, got the fax number, everything for them. I don't know how many days later it was, I got this call from them, and the woman told me that I have to call my insurance and ask them who is in my network, and then call back and tell the doctor who to make the referral for. You got that? Okay, there were some kids, still one of them trying to get in their SUV. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I don't put kids in my videos, so anyway, so I called my insurance company, and I mean, what part of referral do they not understand? Refer, okay, anyway. So I called my insurance company. I was kind of ticked off about that because I worked, while I was a career student at university over 20 years. I worked in different offices. Like, I mainly worked for ortho, spinal, neuro. Okay, I had to cut that off because there was a shuttle bus for kids. Anyway, so I called my insurance and I talked to someone, and they connected me, I don't remember how and why, to this woman that apparently this is what she does, and she's high up in there and all that. Okay, is this going to be school buses galore? Okay, so I called them, and the woman, I told her what they said, I'm having to tell her why I'm calling, and she says, no, that is not how it works. She said, it is their job to call us. You get it? She said, it's their job to call us. And I know that because, like I said, when I was a career student, yet another school bus. Anyway, so she said, it's their job to call us and verify that. Which doctor, which, person, the doctor knows, all this stuff. Duh. Like I said, while I was a career student, I worked for these orthospinal neuro doctors, and it was the staff's responsibility to call and, find out who's in the network and all this stuff, and then the doctor gives a referral, all of that kind of thing. And it includes anything. If you need some kind of medical equipment, or, like a glucometer, that's what I call them, glucose meter. That would be the most, that would be what it's called. Don't hear many healthcare providers say that, though. Since I said that, I've heard one. But anyway, so I called, I digress, man. So I told her, and she said, I'll give you some names, but that's not how they should be doing this at all. And so I called them, let them know the names, and supposedly they sent in the referral. Boy, did I ever choose the wrong time to come out here. I was just thinking this morning about how often I come out here, and it's this time school's letting out. At that time it was 2 kids actually walking home from school. Anyway, so am I going to get this finished? Seriously, am I? But anyway, I called them back and gave them that information. Like I said, supposedly they sent in the referral. I didn't check today to see. Well, actually, I think I did. Okay, I called back to that place, I don't know, a few days later, I guess, and asked them. I spoke to some man. I think they connected me to some man about it, and he sounded very. I told him what had happened, and I said, and this time I want to make sure, I have not yet had an appointment. So I called to schedule an appointment, all that, once they got the referral, whatever it was. And spoke to this man, and he said, no, I'm going to ensure that everything is in, all your medical records, everything, before your appointment. Okay. And he was very nice, very, very nice man. And, I gave him all the information, everything he needed, had all that information ready for him. Who he needs to speak to, when, where, what, all that. And that was probably like 3 months ago, because this time the appointment was going to be scheduled out far. Okay. So, today I called because I wanted to reschedule an appointment because of the flood, all that. I don't drive and all that. I mean, that's kind of stupid to do so. My purpose is to stay healthy. To go to see this doctor. And not to get in an accident to and fro. So I called. And it was, and I got put on hold to mention this, about I called the woman answered, and it was did I mention this? I'm thinking this. answering. Well, I didn't know that it was the answering service. And I wait on hold. I mentioned this 15, 20 minutes. And the woman just had the worst attitude, Ruffy, worst attitude. She said they spelled my name wrong. I don't know how they got the letter D. D as in David is what she said. When it was not, I'm not going to spell my last name. So it was not anywhere near D. Doesn't even sound like D. Doesn't even sound like David. So, and they misspelled mine. She said, well, she told me the spelling of it. And then she turned around and said, I only had one letter wrong. But she said they misspelled it. It was the first and last letter of my name. I don't know how that could have happened. Okay. Because I spell it very clearly, because people always get it wrong. Okay. And I do the alphabet thing, A as in apple, B as in boy, C as in cat, this kind of thing. So they will have it down. Apparently not. You wouldn't believe how many ways my last name has been spelled. Nowhere near. But anyway, sometimes it's close. They get really close. Even though I do do it to where they understand and have them read it back to me. But somehow it gets put in wrong. Whatever. Anyway, so she just had this major attitude. And she told me, she said, well, and then as we're talking, when she asked me to repeat, she goes through everything twice. And then she says, well, they'll be calling you back. She'd asked me for my phone number, call back. And I said, what do you mean they'll be calling me back? Because I said, can we get on with rescheduling the appointment? And she didn't respond. And then she's doing this thing, talking about something. And then she said, well, they'll call you back. And I said, what do you mean? I mean, really, waiting 15, 20 minutes on hold, and then listening to beep, beep, beep the whole time, and her going over things more than once, taking her own sweet time with all of it, to where I have to say, can we get on with making the appointment, rescheduling it? And then the whole while she has an attitude problem. And then she said, well, you called the answering service. I said, no, I did not call the answering service. I was ticked off by them beyond. And see, this is where I am not a good person. I'm usually, with everything else, I'm calm, cool, collected. But this one, and I should not make excuses for my bad behavior, because I said, I did not call the answering service. I called the doctor's office. Well, no, you called the answering service. This is how it works. Click, I hung up. And that's, I say I'm not a perfect person, and that's the kind of thing. I don't like when I do something like that. I should stay calm, cool, collected, but still verbally let them have it in a sweet, gentle way. I usually have that down pat, but this was so unbelievably frustrating with all that's happened before with these. They're dropping the ball, the staff dropping the ball, and all that I've seen other than this one. All the other ones I've seen, I've experienced different things with the staff, but like I said, it ultimately comes down to the doctor. They're the ones getting the bad reputation. So why do you have staff like that? Why aren't you on top of your staff to find out, what's going on here? Why are your appointments keep getting canceled? By somebody or some people or everybody. Because at some point, somebody's going to say, this is ridiculous. Why do I have these horrible reviews about my front desk staff? Front office staff. Fire them. Get somebody who does their job. We shouldn't fall back on the consumer, the patient, the person who's paying you, the person whose insurance is paying you. They're paying you. No, you're wasting our time. You see why I want to vent this? Now, so the woman had said, well, they will be calling you back. I never got a call back, and I didn't expect it to. I really did not expect anybody to call me back. They dropped the ball, and she probably just didn't give them the message. because she had such a major attitude from the moment she answered the phone. Okay. So I decided, I was going to do it anyway. Call back, and I hadn't received any notice about my appointment, any reminder either. And so I called them, and said, I spoke to, the first time it put me on this thing, and my phone, I was using the landline. It's one of those old-fashioned ones. I had just started charging the battery up since earlier, and it already went click down to 1. So I got my cell phone. I prefer the old-fashioned kind. The cell phones are clunky. So anyway, these newer ones, and so I called them. Oh, you got my cell phone. The woman answered right away, and I told her, I said, I want to cancel my appointment. And she asked for my name, so on. And I told her, I told her about the answering service and what happened. And she said, no, we don't have your last name spelled wrong. And so she spelled it for me. I said, well, that's not what your answering service said. And I told her, I said, she had a major attitude. I said, somebody was supposed to call me back, and nobody has. And she was one of those that didn't, she wasn't going to comment at all, except to say, well, we do not have your name spelled wrong. I said, okay, then I said, I want you to look this up. I said, do you have all of my medical records in? She looked it up. She goes, we don't have any medical records in for you. Okay, this has been, what did I say, like 3 months? I said, now I spoke to a young man, and he said that, he wasn't a young man, he was probably like 35 or so. Okay, and I told her, I said, and he said he would ensure that all of my medical records are in before my appointment, because I stressed, I don't want to have an appointment without the doctor having all of the medical records that he would need. And, she says, well, we don't have any, but we requested them and nobody would send them to us. I said, well, if you had my name spelled wrong, perhaps they're there, but they're not in my chart. I don't know if they do it the old-fashioned way with charts, actual charts, or they do it online. I don't know this. Why would I know this? So she looked it up as the spelling that I told her, and she said, we don't have that name either. Okay, now, those same medical records, one of them would have been sent by the hospital that I was in. The other one was being sent by a different kind of set of hospitals. Neither of them sent them in. Come on now. Come on now. And since I had ordered them, I had switched the doctor after, I gotta get to that one. I switched to this one that I like so far. He has all the medical records from that other system. The same hospital. The ones that they're claiming they don't have. Do you hear the sarcasm in my voice? The doubt. Seriously, I seriously doubt it. And I seriously am starting to wonder. I know I really am not much of a conspiracy theorist type, but in this one, I'm wondering if this is some kind of a scam that some of these doctors have figured out. We just say that we don't have the medical records, and then that way we get another appointment, and we get paid for another appointment. I mean, it's too coincidental. One time, you could say, okay, that staff dropped the ball in one place, one doctor. The first one started, I think it was a telemed for the first visit, and they insured me. They did that. We'll make sure all your records are in by then, your appointment. They were not in, and it turned out the doctor was for men. I am female, always have been, always will be, and to each their own on that. And the medical records weren't there. And he's for male, and male with a different problem than female with my problem. when was I going to be informed of this? So I had this telemed charge me, that was before I had insurance, charged me $155 for nothing. He didn't have my medical record, so there was nothing he could do. Okay, ultimately, it's his responsibility to ensure that those medical records are there before he calls me, before they charge me. Okay, because otherwise, it's a ripoff. Otherwise, you could say it's a scam. I'm saying it, it's a scam. So, okay, so that's when it goes back to 2021, somewhere around there. Okay, and then the next one is when I got out of the hospital. Before I got this new doctor, I had called and made an appointment with another one. I think I'd already done it before I went to the, I think before I was in the hospital those 2 days and one night. Because the doctor I had before that wasn't the doctor, it was the nurse practitioner, and she gave me a preventative medicine instead of a curative. And then I spoke to, she was not the nurse, she was his assistant anyway. And I spoke to him, and he told me, he said I gave the right one in. And I spoke to the doctor over the phone, after hours over the phone. He just happened to answer. And the whole thing that was going on with them was that she kept trying to get more and more and more appointments, yet not doing her job. I need to speak to you next week. Oh, we forgot to take this test when you were here, so I need you to come in next week too. No, I'm fasting. We'll still need you to come in next week. And she was saying, she actually said it. I was hoping to get several appointments out by now, done by now. What the crap? You have to have a reason, not your stupidity, not your greed, not your just wanting appointments. You see? Okay, I just had I get two texts from the, actually it's, I think one email, one text from the pharmacy to let me know that my package was delivered. Do I need both? That's like these doctors. I'll get a text telling me that they're going to send me a text. Something like that. A text to tell me to check my portal, their portal for my messages, and then one saying that they sent me a message. Really? Each time I get several a day. Several from them, like, including they'll send 2 like that for a reminder of an appointment. And they apparently start that like a week ahead of time and every day. Wow. I think right now I have 8 appointments scheduled. Well, I did until I canceled this one. Because I did cancel this one. And I have no intention of going there. Yeah. Anyway. So the other one, send me a prescribe, send it in to the pharmacy, a preventative instead of a curative, and that was pretty bad. That's what wound me up in me having to go to the hospital and in the hospital and all that. So I decided while in the hospital, I think before that though, I had already scheduled. Once I found out this about the preventative instead, I scheduled this appointment. And then this one, I hope I'm not repeating myself because there's a lot of little stops and starts here. And then that one, I went in for the appointment. I came with packet in hand, man. It was in a folder even. You heard me, packet. It's packed. And it even had a disc that the hospital gave me that showed my CT scans and all the records, that showed the CT, and then I had all these records, that what is it called, discharge papers, and they give all, if you go to the doctor, they give you all these discharge papers, all the stuff of what's going on with you and all this, what medications you're on, blah, 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 all that stuff. I had all that and I handed it to her and she said, oh, well, we can't use this disc. That's what the hospital gave me. I said, I have all that other stuff. She said, well, we'll have to order them all to be sent to me. And this was the doctor, so sweet and all. And I liked her. But when she said that, I started going, right. I mean, there was a little suspicion at that point. And she said, we'll have to reschedule. I said, can we do a telemed? Something like telemed. I don't know what they call it there. I just say telemed for everything. It's when you talk on the phone, but not on video. I can't stand that. But you imagine, I've been making videos for 10 years. I can't stand those. So anyway, she said, yeah, we can do that. And she said, we'll do it a month. We'll make, we'll order all your records and they should be in. It was a month or so. And so, the day came. They sent me a reminder or whatever. And the day came and she called and she said, well, the records were sent to us, but the one page I needed was turned sideways in the fax. Okay, ultimately, it's her responsibility to see if she had what she needed before calling me, before the telemed visit. Okay? And so we were going to have yet a third. It would be the third appointment. I missed the appointment that I had. And I went to call and I said, oh, they did not send me a reminder. I thought it was later on in the month and, I was going to cancel it anyway. So maybe they'll get a hint. I mean, maybe that's the best response, because you make a complaint and, you're probably not going to get the best of service. But at the same time, you think somebody needs to tell them that this is inappropriate. It is your job to make sure you have everything you need before you call me and charge me for a telemed visit. It's not the money, because my insurance pays, I think they pretty much pay all of it like $5 or something. Yeah, it is $5. So big whoopity doo. I'm not that poor. I'm not poor. So, I mean, for people who, I didn't have insurance before. I paid $155 for a visit, telemed visit, that other place. And they lied. They didn't have the records in, and he didn't check to make sure they did. Right. And I wasn't poor then, but at the same time, $155 for nothing? Yeah. So, of course, I never had an appointment with that person after that. I did research on him and found out he was for men with a different health issue. Really now. You see why I'm starting to get this kind of feeling of, these are scam artists. Or is it just all coincidence? It can all be coincidence. Yeah, and the other one, the one that did the curative the preventative instead of curative. I was supposed to be getting referrals, 2 of them. One had been waiting on longer than that. The other one was new. She told me it doesn't work that way. Well, what way does it do? She wanted all these appointments before she gave me a referral, because the referral would be to someone who could do all of mine. It's a specialist, because I have a rare health condition, and that person could do all of it, and I wouldn't need her. She didn't say that. I know that. And I have the rare health condition since I was a kid, but it was diagnosed in the late 1990s. And then again with CT in the 2000. Okay, so anyway, so this one was going to have me come in for an appointment. They didn't send me a reminder about, but they were going to have me come in for the appointment, when I called today. And then they weren't going to have my medical records, so that would have been, you could say 3 or 4, however you want to see it, because that are doing something to where they can make more money. Okay, they can make more visits. And that's the ones I remember, the ones that stick out because of the whole situation and all, especially the hour-long waits, that one, the preventative, curative one, calling them. I remember calling them, waiting on hold for 27 minutes because, you know, it says on the phone how long it was. And somebody picked it up and hung up. I had to call back, and man, the same thing. I could have been there and, you know, been there and back almost, but in that time. And then called again, and I said, man, have to be on hold. And the person answered, and I told her, I said, look, this is what happened. I waited on hold for 27 minutes, and somebody picked it up and hung up. She didn't address that, of course. And she said, what? And then she said something. I don't know if it was that phone call or another one that they only have one person answering for all those doctors and nurses and physician's assistants and all that there. And I said, well, they need to hire more. She said, well, good luck with that. I've been trying for, you know, I don't know if it was one or two people. She said, I've been trying to get them to do that for, you know, they're going to make all this money by coming up with BS. You know, BS excuses. That's the one that kept. She wanted to see me several more times before that, because I think it was coming close to the end of the year, and she wanted to get as many appointments in for the year as she could. I mean, what nerve! What freaking nerve! I'm there just so you as your cash cow. Is that what it is? Oh, the doctor, when I first saw the doctor. It was the doctor, and he was like, what? You have new insurance?